Yeah, good afternoon, students. Welcome to the today's session. Today we are going to start fourth unit. The title of this unit is Email Security. So, in our daily life, we are regularly using the email services. We are sending mails, we are receiving the mails, but simply we are using the facility. We do not know so how secure this mail system is, how the security is provided, what we can do, all those things we may see in this unit. The email security, say for example, we are sending a mail. You can look here. Email is one of the most widely used and regarded network service. So for example, abc at gmail.com is sending a mail to cdf at yahoo.com. Okay, subject is hi, the content is how are you. Like this, we are sending many text messages, or you can send attached documents to two, one to many or one to one. The communication is depends. If you want to send a mail to only one, you can send, or you can send to the at a time to the many people. So these email security services are, you can find here, confidentiality. So it never disclose the content to the others. And next one is authentication of the source. Here we know that from where the particular mail is sent, source we can easily know here. So message integrity means protection from modification. It will not allow others to do any changes. Non-repudiation of origin. So the protection is there from the denial by sender. It means we know that whether this information or this mail is came from the which origin, from where it was started, we can know. And then proof of submission, and then proof of delivery. So when it was delivered, that also we can say, we can see. Next, message flow confidentiality. So the intruder unable to know whether the message sent or not between users, it doesn't know to the other persons. Anonymity. So hiding the sender details. Anonymity means hiding the sender details. Containment. The ability to maintain network security. That is containment. Audit. Self-destruct. Message sequence. These all are email security services. And now you can see what are the possible attacks can be done on emails. The first one is phishing attack. It is the attack attempt to find information like our username, password, either by directly or indirectly. They will try to find those details. And second attack is malware distribution. So, and this, it is a software where we distribute, where you distribute to interrupt the services of the person. And next one is spam attack. It is the junk mail attack. So you cannot see these in an inbox. Next one is denial of secure attack. The attacker send the bulk mail, either make overflow or crush. Okay. So the first topic here under the email security, PGP, pretty good privacy. It was widely used to fact secure mail. It was developed by Phil Zimmerman. It's selected as the best available cryptography algorithms to be used integrated into single program. It was available on, you can use this on Unix, PC, Macintosh, Amiga systems. It was free. Now have the commercial versions available also. So you see some softwares, you can see the same software you can avail in a free of service, and there is a legal versions also, that is purchase, you have to purchase and then you can use it. Some more facilities will be there like MS Office. So MS Office, it is freely available that we can use, and also it is a paid software that is commercially used by the industry people. So what are the services provided by this pretty good privacy? So these are the services. One is authentication, second one confidentiality, next compression, email compatibility, segmentation and reassembly. These are the five services available with PGP. Pretty good privacy. See this PGP cryptographic functions. The first diagram, you can see that it is in this diagram we are performing only authentication, and in this we are performing only confidentiality, and in third case both the confidentiality and authentication is there. Let us see each one. PGP operation by authentication. See here, the sender creates the message. See, this is the message. Sender created the message. And now the SHA-1 algorithm we are using here to generate the 160-bit hash code of message. The message, the sender created message is given to the hash function. So here we were used the SHA-1 algorithm. So after this hash function, it will be generated the 160-bit hash code message, and this hash code is encrypted with a RSA algorithm. See this one, this is the encryption. It is done encryption with RSA algorithm using the sender's private key. So the private key is represented with R. If it is a public key, in the place of R you can find U. Okay, so it is A, means it is the sender is A. Okay, now the A sending the message to the some destiny. Okay, so at that time we use the sender's private key to perform the encryption process. Okay, and after that the result is attached to the message. See here, after performing the encryption, the output is at this, we can call it as append symbol, two vertical lines. So this output of encryption is appended with the original message, and then that was sent to the receiver, I mean to the destiny. Okay, so here you can see Z. Okay, the intermediate which was received the information and sent to the receiver, I mean destiny. So at the destiny, you can observe here, here we are performing the Z inverse, means the, which is the operation, which function you are performing here, the reverse function you need to perform to get back this content. Okay, and M is the original message, and this one is the encrypted message. Okay, see, you can observe here on this original message. Wait a minute. So you can see here the receiver uses the RSA or DSS with the sender's public key, you can see. So at the sender side, it was used the private key for for performing the encryption. So to perform the decryption, the same user's public key has to be used. So at the time of the source, it was used the sender's private key. Now at the decryption process, we use the sender's public key to decrypt and recover the hash code. So here it was decrypted and we got the hash code. See, on this original message, you can see we are performing the hash function that you can observe here. See the original message, we are performing the hash function, and now these two will be compared. These two will be compared. So when the both are equal, then we say that it is valid. Otherwise, it is invalid. So we are providing the authentication. Means at the sender side, at the source side, the sender is performing the encryption with the private key. So whenever it is a private, the others are not allowed to open or the others cannot open the message without having the public key of the sender. Okay, so our data is purely authenticated and the receiver knows that from where the message is received. Okay, so that is the authentication. Next, second one is confidentiality. So confidentiality means what? In the previous example and the previous operation, only the authentication is there, but there is no confidentiality. Why, sir? You can observe in this diagram. So here it was performed the encryption with the private key at the sender side, but at the receiver side we are using the public key. So we all know that public key means it is open to the all users. So any user can use that public key to decrypt the message. So what happens? So here there is no confidentiality. Means anybody can open that, decrypt that message and they can see. So in the previous operation, the confidentiality is missing. So now in this present PGP operation, we are trying to keep the confidentiality in the sending message. See here, the sender is generating the message M and there is a 128-bit number to be used as a session key. Okay, as a session key for this message. So you can observe here, the M is the original message. It is passed through the function Z. So here we are performing the encryption. The message is encrypted using the CAST 128 or IDEA or 3DES algorithm with session key. Okay, and this session key is encrypted. See here, you are appending this and you are sending, and this session key is encrypted using RSA with recipient's public key. So here you can see this is the public key of B. So we are using the destiny public key here to perform the encryption. Okay, the session key is encrypted using the RSA with the recipient's public key, then attached to the message. Okay, so here we are performing the encryption on the message. So it is performed the session key, and on that we are performing again the encryption with the public key of the destiny, and we are appending the both. Okay, after appending, we are sending through the transmitted through the network. See, the receiver uses RSA with a private key, so to decrypt and recover the session key. So here it is performing the decryption, so it will recover that. Now the session key is used to decrypt the message that you can see here. It is decrypted, so and it is Z inverse, and finally you will get the original message. So here you can observe what the private key is at destination side. So the confidentiality is there, but you can observe here there is no authentication, there is no authenticity. You can see, observe here, there is a public key at the sender. So the public key, just now I have told you, it is a open source to the all. Then anybody can send the information to the destiny. So it is very difficult to understand from which source we received the this particular message, whether it is the original or not. Okay, because the key is public here. When it is public, as we know that it was given or it was open to the all the sources, any other users also they can use it. Okay, and the next one is both confidentiality and authentication. So use both services on the same message. So we use public key and private key as a pair at sender side and also at the receiver side. So it uses both services on the same message. See here, we will create the signature and attach to the message. You can observe there is a message. We are applying the hash function encryption with the private key of the sender, and we are appending. And you can observe here again you are performing what? You are performing the function Z. See this. Both we are combined. This diagram you can observe. And earlier we were seen separately. First we have seen the authentication and then we have seen the confidentiality. So that you can observe here both are combined. This diagram you can observe both are combined to provide the both authentication and confidentiality that you can see here. See, this is the confidentiality diagram you can observe, and this is the authentication diagram. So both of these diagrams are joined here that you can observe here. See this, both are joined. Okay, and now so by combining these two, we can provide the both confidentiality and authentication. Clear? See this email compression. By default, a PGP compresses message after signing, but before encryption. So one can store the uncompressed message and signature for later verification. So because the compression is a not deterministic, so it uses the zip compression algorithm. Okay, and this one is email compatibility. So when you are using the PGP, it will have the binary data to send. So email was designed only for the text message. So PGP must encode the raw binary data into printable ASCII characters. So that should be human readable format, which uses the Radix 64 algorithm. It maps 3 bytes to 4 printable chars. Also, it appends the CRC approach. It segments the message if too big. So, if the message is too big, it will divide it into segments. So, that also is done in this email. Okay. So, in the next class, we will see this PGP operation in detail with this diagram. And so far, we have seen about the PGP operations. One is authentication, confidentiality, and then confidentiality and authentication, then compression, and then email compatibility. So thank you all. We'll meet tomorrow.